your host, Marsha Florence, with Just Ask Podcast Live. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. And as you notice, today is Marsha's Recap Day. So I wanted to fill you in on some wonderful guests that we've seen in the last several weeks. We're back in the studio doing live taping as well as podcasts. So what I wanted to make sure is that if you haven't seen the show in a while, or if you haven't seen the show of your choice, you could always, you know me, give us a call and say, hey, Marsha, I want to know if you'll do a show on some condition that, someone may be having. Myasthenia gravis, Graves' disease, lupus. You'd be surprised what these conditions are that are out here that people, are experiencing, and yet they feel like they're alone. So what we do is try to make sure that we cover that information for you by bringing on the executive directors, physicians, healthcare professionals, whatever it takes to make sure that we get the answers for you about something that's going on in your life, your family member's life, or a neighbor. It could be any of those things, because a lot of healthcare conditions, you hear a doctor say 1 in 10 people or 1 in 50 million people that this happens to, and just so happen is you. So then you feel like, how do you do the search? How do you find out more about it? Of course, you're going to go online and look up some information, but we here at Just Ask will, provide the shortcut. So you can always call us and ask about something, and we will do the research for you and get back to you. And I also encourage you, and I'm going to have to remember to add this to our list, the Just Ask Resource Connect website, which is the resource site that tells you about our businesses in the state of Michigan. And, you can go there and look up a person by their name or business and find out more about their stuff. So they have their mission statement on there, their hours of operation, the type of services they provide. That's another way of us keeping in touch with the community to make sure that you can find what you're looking for. Now, today, you know me, I always have to go back over some people or things that I have had a chance to see or hear about. And each month, if you notice, is something different. I believe this is Mental Health Month. I'm not sure, but there's a lot of different organizations that, the months are split with when people are looking for heart healthy programs, success programs, be kind to somebody. It's always something. But however it is, if we have it, we're going to bring it to you. So I do want to start off with, if it is Mental Health Month, our dear friends over at NAMI, National Alliance on Mental Illness, Mr. Kevin Fisher. He'll be back to join us one day soon to give us some updates on what's going on at NAMI. But in the meantime, we do, that's the wrong one. We do want to make sure that we acknowledge the fact that if you don't know some of the warning signs for mental illness, I just posted it, and that screen's not that clear, so I'm going to have to go back. I'm sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Even I'm looking at it like, what? Okay, but there are a lot of warning signs for mental illness that you have to look out for. A person just not responding too much in conversation, not eating, appear to be distant, especially if you have a loved one that's always been outgoing and outspoken, and all of a sudden now when you ask them what's wrong and they say nothing, then you kind of worry. You want to kind of play it off, true enough, but some things you can't play off. You can't ignore because you don't know. And especially if you have small children. If you have small children and then you're worried about, they're not playing or they're not talking, it is something to be concerned about, because small children usually are real active, and all of a sudden your kid is not really doing anything and you're worried. So we will repost this one for sure, but I do want you to know that there's a lot of warning signs. So feeling very sad or withdrawn for more than 2 weeks, trying to harm or end one's life, or making plans to do so. And let me say something about that. When you hear somebody saying, I'm not living right, or things are not going right, don't just listen to them. Sometimes you have to report that to someone to make them aware too. So if you're a teenager, a young person, and a friend of yours calls you and say, hey, I'm not living right, or things are not going right, yeah, you want to give them a listening ear, a loaning ear, but you also want to make sure that somebody else along with you are aware of this person's conversation that may not be too good. So severe, out of control risk-taking behavior that causes harm to self or others. Somebody may be cutting themselves, sticking themselves with pin, burning themselves, or harming animals. All that is some signs of mental illness. So don't overlook that. You see somebody hurting a cat or a dog or even bugs, just excessively hurting bugs and stuff like that. You'd be surprised what those are signs leading to. But you say, oh, they're just killing those ants. Well, wait a minute. It's one thing to kill a ant in the house, but it's another thing that you are setting them on fire or something like that. Okay, so sudden overwhelming fear of no reason. They're just scared out of no reason, like somebody's after them and they can't tell you who and can't tell you what. Sometimes with a racing heart, physical discomfort or difficulty breathing. Somebody's, having shortness of breath, and you ask them what's wrong. They keep saying, I can't breathe. So those are different signs that you can look out for. Significant weight loss or gain. The person is becoming real frail and thin, and all of a sudden you just like, wow, just a month ago they were a certain size. Now look at them a month later, they're thin as a rail. Or they may be excessively eating, and at one time they were, a small frame, and now they're a larger frame. So it could be any of those things, and definitely seeing, hearing, or believing things that aren't real. Now we're not going to say ghosts aren't real. I'm not going to say that. But things that people say, do you see that? And you don't see it, but they see it. So those are some of the signs. Excessive use of alcohol or drugs. That person who's got to have a sip every day, all day, 2 or 3 times a day, and normally used to didn't drink. All of a sudden they drink now a lot, or they're vaping a lot, or they're smoking a lot. Drastic change in mood, behavior, personality, or sleeping habits. Extreme difficulty concentrating or standing still. Intense worries or fears that get in the way of daily activities. So I just went on and read them to you because that screen was blurred, but I just actually went on and read it to you. So definitely, if we have questions or concerns about someone with mental illness, we want to contact the National Alliance on Mental Illness and, call the helpline. So their number, I'm looking at a number, and I should have had that posted, but that number is 800-950-6264, 1-800-950-6264, and that's for a helpline with mental illness. Okay, so sometimes you could just call and ask questions. You don't know if somebody's actually sick, but you may have a question. So why not call them and just ask? All right, that's the shortcut. So we hats off to Kevin Fisher and the staff that does a wonderful job over at NAMI, and we hope to see them in the fall. All right, so we'll get to that. So with that one, I want to go over our dear friend Pat Rencher from Urban Aging News, the quarterly senior paper. And let's see, what do we have in the Urban Aging News? So, of course, the reason I brought this up is because she's having her 8th annual, or they're having their 8th annual Aging Matters Expo, Educational Expo for Caregivers on August 10th. I believe that's 2023, all right? So, those of you who are available to definitely have a day of full experiences of healthcare and health professionals and resources, you want to attend the 8th annual Aging Matters Educational Expo Caregiver Conference. All right, so we're there in attendance. Just As is always there in attendance. We hope to see some of you there. And really what that does is give you insight on what's going on in the communities, what resources are available, who's doing what, and who's doing it, okay? So, we're there too, okay? So, and then if you have questions about new to Medicare, a to-do list for making the move, Miss Kim Parker, her story or article is inside that paper. So I suggest that you read that, because a lot of people don't know when if they're eligible for enrollment. When is open enrollment? What age are they eligible? What benefits are they eligible? So sometimes you want to get an agent, okay? And I'm sure Miss Kim Parker is an agent, but you can always just definitely call. And even if you don't call her, call the number on the back of a card and say, when is open enrollment, or have I missed the deadline, and when do I apply? You don't necessarily have to wait till you're 60 something and say, did I get it? Did I miss it? Because you're looking at Part A, Part B, Part D, Part C. You try to figure out what they all are, and you don't know. So you got to know one of them is hospitalization, another one is prescription drugs, another one is eye, vision, So you got to, if you're saying, I need some glasses, I don't know if they're going to pay for them. You don't know you're going to pay for them because you didn't call the number on the back of the card. So even if you don't know when open enrollment is, if you already have a card, you want to call and find out what services are available to you. And if you don't have those services, when can you apply for them? So that's key. So if you don't get an agent, like Miss Kim Parker, then you definitely want to reach out to the numbers on the back of your Medicaid card, Medicare card, insurance card, and find out when is open enrollment. They'll tell you. All right. And along with that, I believe, let's see, where you're in here. Oh, yeah. You just want to remind you, you can always catch the Just Ask Talk Show every Wednesday morning at 5:30 a.m. on PBS Channel 56. And I know some of you say, what, 5:30? You'd be surprised who's up. But if you should miss the show on PBS, please, please, please go to our website, justasktalkshow.org, or YouTube. Now, thumbs up and thumbs down on YouTube lets us know what we're doing, if it's wrong or right or incomplete. And we appreciate if you get a chance to support our efforts, too. Now, we're not brand new at this. I can't tell you how many years we've been doing this. But, however, we're here for you, the people. And so with that being said, also in her paper, I wanted to acknowledge, and we just did a recent story, so I'm going to have to go back and tell you the story on the Michigan LGBTQ Elder Network program. So now we actually did half of a story with the organizers of this program here, Michigan LGBTQ, and then we're going to have a part 2. So I just brought this up here. Now this is like, what you don't understand is people are looking for resources and help in every capacity. And at some point in your life, somebody's ignoring you or saying or denying you. If you are in the LGBTQ community and you feel like you're being discriminated against and can't get help, housing, personal care, stuff like that, you want to contact this number here and find out what services they provide. And definitely I'm going to give you insight on the story that's coming up about them so that you can know in the future that there's going to be available housing. So on that note, let me just go to that. So first of all, I want to introduce to you, who is this gentleman? That is Reverend Roland Stringfellow. And he came into the studio just a couple of weeks ago and did a show with us in reference to the new upcoming a safe and affordable housing for the LGBTQ community for older adults. Now, I was just so impressed with having him come and tell us the story because he gave us insight on his life and his humble beginnings and how this particular house came about. So this gentleman here is Mr. Raymond Shepard. And Mr. Shepard has passed on, but in the midst of before he died, he donated his funds to develop a particular type housing that they have named after him called the Shepard House. And this community, it will be located in Ferndale, and it will be, I think, is it a 3 or 4 story building for they will house and provide safety and care for the LGBTQ community. So I wanted to thank Reverend Stringfellow for joining us because look at there. I mean, that's going to be a beautiful building in downtown Ferndale, which actually I think is right off of 9 Mile. So I forgot the cross streets, but we'll be doing another story on that shortly. And that is the plans for it will be for 2024. So at some point, keep in mind they're going to be taking applications at sometime at the end of this year, and you want to get privy to that to get your application in for that beautiful housing. So just when people say, oh, I'm being mistreated, I'm being discriminated, there's somebody comes along and says, we're going to stop that, we're going to change that, So hats off to the community in reference to making sure that people are safe and have affordable housing. Now, we have, where is that picture at? Oh, that's not it. Okay, that's not it. I got to find me. That's not it. Okay, where are we at? We in here too, y'all. So I gotta find the picture. Well, I'll bring it up because we're here along with Pat Rencher for our event that's coming up. So I'll come up with that. But I want to make sure you first heard about the Shepherd House. Okay. Now, and then you heard about the warning signs for mental illness, and we're going to move right along. And with that, now we had this wonderful guest in the house, Dr. John Putnam. Back to you. Look at here. Back to you. Okay. Osteopathic physical therapy and rehabilitation. Now, the reason I actually brought this up is because when Dr. Putnam came in and told us about, not that's the picture I chose, but that he came in and told us about, the various forms of physical therapy and rehab. I mean, it was a whole host of pictures. I just chose this one. But, your body's tight. You're uncomfortable. Why not go somewhere, especially if the insurance is covering it, and get an alignment, or, like you say, like a car, but get an alignment on your back, or, get a massage, cupping, the heat cupping, acupuncture. You can do any of those things, I go. So at some point, we're all tight and tensed about something, it just might be work, it might be family, just overall life stressing you out. Why not go get your back cracked, okay? Something like, I know I said that. I know I did. But my point is, you need to go somewhere and sometimes get taken care of physically. The same kind of money that you spend on eating food, some of that you can take on better care. The same money you take, ladies, for getting your manicure and pedicure is the same money you can take to get a full body massage. Some things we can alter, or add into the mix. And I like that. Add that into the mix. You don't have to stop getting the manicure and the pedicure. Don't do that. I'm just saying add a body massage in there once a month. If you can't go every 2 weeks, go once a month. Get a full body massage. And if you don't get one, take your parents, okay? If you're going to take your parents on an outing, take your parents and say, how about we get a massage? Even if it's just the legs and the feet or something like that, or the shoulders, Or you can go to Dorsey's Therapeutic Massage School and get a massage for free. The students are in there, and they will be gracious enough to want to, if you allow them comfortably, to do their training on you with the instructors present, and you get a free massage. Can't beat that. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, me. Got to make sure. Oh, we saw that already. So definitely I want to make sure that you see. Who do I have up here? I want to make sure that you see. There you go. Now, that's the biggest picture I got out here. So, the 3rd Annual Health and Fun Fair, celebrating the human spirit. So, Just Dance Foundation, along with Bridging Communities, our co-sponsor, this year, October 5th, 2023, will be hosting our you hear me? Our 3rd Annual Health and Fun Fair at the Eastern Market, Shed number 5. Now, the reason I chose Shed number 5 or Eastern Market, because Eastern Market is universal, okay? It's right there in the center, in the heart of downtown, so you can't miss it. And the sheds are beautiful, open space, free parking, open parking. You might go to the stores around in the community, pick up a few items while you're there. Come on, people. But most of all, what I want you to do is mark your calendar for October 5th and come and join us for a free, fun, full day. Music, food, fun, giveaways, prizes, all the medical people. And if you have a person, a service that you like to see at the event, you know me, give us a call, 1-800-323-5336, and say, hey, Marsha, can these people come, or we'd like for you to contact this organization here for consideration to come to the 3rd Annual Health and Fun Fair event, and we will make sure that they are there, all right? So that's the important date and time for me, and I wanted to make sure that you guys are aware of that so that you can be present in the house, and we'll be bringing that up back and forth throughout the year till it's time. All right. So, and registration is open now, so you can go online to the Just Ask Talk Show website and register as a vendor, or register as an attendee. All right, or register as a volunteer. We're always taking volunteers, so we love to have you and love to see you in the space, in the place. And to remind you now, when I did the first one, or when we did the first one, I'll take that back. When we did the first one, we're like, oh, this is nice. This is different. Then we did the second one. It's like, we got something here. Okay. So now we're on the third one. Okay. So it's steady growing, and it's growing in volume and in importance. Now, we had other cities to come join us. The city of River Rouge bust in 40 of their residents to come and join in a fun full day and receive health and medical resources. And now they've invited us to come to River Rouge to do the same thing there, and we shall. We promise that we will make sure that we honor our fellow council persons and constituents that help us make these programs go the way they are. So if you're in a position to want to reach out to us and say, can we do something in your city? Of course we can, okay? And we can do the same thing and have it on the show as well, okay? So remember, all our programs are taped, and you'll see them later if you missed it, all right? So normally I was going to share with you, well, it's in Pat Rencher's paper, Urban Aging News, our event, so you will see that flyer in there too. So without a doubt, you'll be, keeping a date available of these events. So hers is October 10th, okay, that's the expo, and hers is August 10th, I'm sorry, and ours is October 5th, okay? So when I say hers, ours, Pat Rencher, Urban Aging News, theirs is in August. Just As Foundation is in October. All right. So if you have a upcoming event that we need to know about, please feel free to let us know. Don't hesitate to drop that line in and tell me what it is that you would like for us to share within the community. And so that's, what I'm saying, people, is that this program is designed with you in mind so that you'll know who's doing what and where. All right. And if you missed the show on PBS, we have so many different avenues that you can actually just catch it at your leisure on YouTube, on Facebook, on Just As website, or on our cable station lineup, Comcast Detroit, Comcast Southfield, Wide Open Western Troy, East Lansing. So you never know where we're at, but if you don't know, call. And check it out. So what I did was I just really went through and found the previous guests that we had seen before, and I didn't forget, I meant to bring in, I had one flyer, but I needed to make sure that if you saw this flyer, you would know who this is, and I'm not sure if you would, but we actually had a chance to work with a team from Beaumont, Beaumont/Corwell. Okay, so Corwell is the new name for Beaumont Hospital, and we had a chance to interview Dr. Maureen Anderson from Integrative Medicine. Crystal Young gave us information about Advanced Directive. So we will be seeing more of the staff or personnel from various hospitals, okay? So if there's an interest for a physician to want to come and tell us a story to share with our viewers, we'd love to have that so that the viewers can better understand what's out there. Who's doing what, Now, I'm going to tell you something. I'm trying to ask my ENT, my ear, nose, and throat doctor, to do a show with us because I am a person who's hearing impaired, and so I don't take hearing loss lightly. I take it seriously, and I want everybody to be aware of the various types of hearing aids, the various types of hearing loss, and, I want you to take out the assumption, I'm just losing my hearing. It might be that you need to have your ears clean, and that's serious. Something that you can't get to, something down impacted that you can't get to with I can't understand how people put bobby pins in the ear, but bobby pins, Q-tips, and stuff like that, but you can't use liquid solution and clean your ears. When I cringe at bobby pins and Q-tips. But anyhow, so I just want to do something with the ENT specialists so that people will have a better understanding of how to care for their ears. Those body parts that's what they call invisible disabilities. They're not just autoimmune diseases. There's something physical sometime too, which could be low vision, could be low hearing loss, could be night sweats. It could be anything. So when you have something that's going on with your body, it may not just be age related. It may be that, something is lacking attention and we need to pay attention to. The body usually gives you warning signs when something's going wrong, so to speak, because internal you can't tell. But external is the signs, is giving you the signs. So a dark rash or red rash on your skin, that's not normal. You didn't come here with that rash, so you need to go and find out what that rash is. Ringing in the ears, that's not normal, so you want to go find out what that is. Blurred vision, that's definitely not normal, okay? So, and don't equate everything with age. Try to keep in mind that it doesn't have to be age, because when children get sick, you're saying, how could that be? But sometimes we have conditions that go unnoticed or unforeseen, and we don't know how to deal with it. So we need to find out the resources to actually get the information. So don't be afraid. That's what I'm trying to get across to you. Don't be afraid to ask, all right? Don't be afraid to ask, just ask.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides at aarp.org/caregiving.
If you love them enough to do this, surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
All right. So I'm getting ready to close up, but you know who I am. I want to make sure that you have my information there. 1-800-323-5336, Just Ask Talk Show. Twitter, all that. Call me anytime. You got it. All right. And definitely, you know who I am by my name, the host. Don't forget, check us out at 5:30 every Wednesday morning on PBS, channel 56 when you have the time. And if you miss us, I gave you all the other avenues to be prepared. And that way, hey, if you got a question, we got the answer, or we'll look the answer up for you to get back to you and make sure that we have taken care of that information. We don't want anybody to go without resources. So, okay, ladies and gentlemen, I do not want to take up any more of your lovely day, but I do want to say I'm your host, Marsha from Just Ask, and what do I always say? If you had a question about a person with a disability, or if you just have a general question, don't be afraid to ask. Just ask. I'm your host. See you next time.